Hello, I'm Tom Smith, and these are my slides from Think Visibility and about social media and some of the things we're doing and some of the tools that we're building to help us make all our work with social media more effective and to help us to understand what's going on. Um, Here I am doing the talk to you right now, and this is how I got here. Um, I started in educational research, doing lots of online community things and uh, lots of innovative stuff in that area, and then became really interested in HCI and usability, moving in later into more sort of e-commercey things, building some really usable, lovely shops that nobody visited. So that kind of made me want to get into SEO, and now it's kind of the online community stuff and the usability are all feeding into doing social media. Um, and at the end of this talk, I'll sort of show you how you can get going and become a social media expert yourself. It's very quick and easy. This is what I do, which is all about making a site usable to begin with, make it any good, and then make sure it ticks all the boxes. Yes, of course, it has to be Google friendly. Then we do sort of research um, on what people are actually doing and find ways to go out and have conversations with the people that we should be. And then the last part of the what I call everything ability, which is basically um, doing making the best, making the most important changes to a site is all about doing lots of things in an integrated way rather than outsourcing your usability or outsourcing your SEO. Now that this part here is making sure that the people involved know what they're doing and are up to speed on everything that's happening, and then maybe even building tools to help them do their job better, because quite often the tools are still awful, and quite often this is the point where we actually invent something new. So we're creating value over here for the customers, and actually over here it's the whole team that's getting involved in this part, I guess. Yeah. So um, why are we even bothering with social media? Well, if you're like me, you may have read the Clue Train Manifesto, and which basically says that people recognize bullshit, and we do, and also that people respond to humans, as opposed to uh, those messages written by committees, and it's social media is also good for SEO, and it's fantastic for finding out what your customers actually want and getting involved with them. Um, there's also a lot of snake all around the area. Everybody's a social media expert today, including you, and this is a chopper with a Pop-Tart that represents just how fleeting and changing all this is. And you may be getting involved in social media just because your competitors are. Uh, whatever the reason, um, um, I have a plan on. Oh no, sorry, this slide's come first. The problems before we even start, the common ones. Problems with social media is, oh, I'm too busy. So everybody's too busy for social media. I've got enough problems with email, and this is just another thing which I hate it when people say they're too busy. It either means they're more important than you, or they're really bad at doing their email, doing something wrong. So social media isn't. It can save you time. It can save you all those horrible emails that you're answering again and again and again, and bring more benefits. Another problem with social media is that, I don't know if you know this, but the internet is very, very big. It's so big, I think it's bigger than 1 million pages, and or maybe even slightly bigger than that. The problem here that I'm sort of finding is that we talk about 1 million quite often, and we've got no real experience of what 1 million is. We don't know if it's hairs on heads or grass, blades of grass in a field, and it's just into this crazy realm where we 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 know it's there, but we don't really know what it is. Um, I did a quick little check on how many sites I view just in a week, and extrapolated that if I carried on like that, I'll probably see about 2.4 million a year. and you know, I'm I'm average. Um, so the only point, social media becomes the only point on this huge number, which is probably, you know, it's probably got a few more notes on the end, where you and everybody else overlaps. Social media is that point where you can actually um, get to know people. And also the tools are terrible. Google, especially for social media, Google returns well-ranked stuff. That's not what you want. You want the stuff that your customers are talking about, which isn't well ranked. It's fleeting. It's come and it's gone, and it's personal. And Google Analytics, fantastic though it is, forces you to look at the wrong things. Um, the tools that we've built are more about looking at the long tail and less about looking at visits and looking at other things. So so how do we fix all this? Um, well, firstly, it's a good point to remember that changing the way you think about it even is important, because quite often there's still a waterfall method that kind of goes plan and refine and then deliver, where that actually excludes lots of people from participating. So just because it's done and it's perfect, and well, what do you want? Applause. Whereas something a little bit more half baked can be that enables people to offer something, can be a much more interesting way of approaching a problem. So here's my plan. It's very simple. Um, there's basically 5 steps, and it goes. Firstly, you've got to probably invade. Just start using the stuff. Now this is all just about getting familiar with the tools. There's no reason you need to be blogging and you need to be twittering, you know, and maybe even MySpace if you've got a younger sort of customer base that you want to be speaking to. You're on Facebook, and now one of the next things that's important is provide and hope. And this is basically about finding any data you have, and putting it out there in a way that allows other people to begin using it. So don't just put things in web pages. Put things in PDFs or in tables or in RSS feeds or in whatever, because you never know. Then this is all about, if you put a comment form on every single page of your website, people might comment, and then deal with the problems that might create later. You'll be lucky to. You should think yourself lucky to be getting comments if you do, and then deal with that later. So it's more about do it and see what happens, and then the integration component is about once everybody on the team's familiar with things like SlideShare and Flickr and Google Docs, then if you work that into your work process as a company, then what you tend to find that the SEO that normally you're paid for is starting to happen for your company for free, and you're making the right connections in the right places. Because on slides, places like Flickr, that's one of the overlaps. Remember, the internet's bigger than a million, and there's the social media sites. So turning your data into photos and putting them onto Flickr is going to have some kind of outreaching event. Then we start augmenting the tools. We start doing new things with them, and we start engaging in different ways. We start joining communities rather than just doing stuff over here, where we're looking to maybe collate stuff and bring it back. We're doing the job for the communities, and we're maybe sponsoring something that we think we might like over here. Well, wouldn't it be great if Google Docs did this? Well, let's pay someone to do it and then give it back. Even WordPress themes can be a great way of it's something that's out there that you can adapt slightly and put your work back into the community that you're working with. And then my favorite area of it is over here, which is about creating something new. And this could be even creating a new business. It could be it's creating new value, or it's Web 2 loveliness. It's a mashup. Ooh, and then we get loads of kudos for that. And then the whole process kind of happens again. Easy. It is really easy. So I'm going to look at some of the keywords we've been looking at, which a cable manufacturer, which sort of large company, a one-man band coffee enthusiast nut seller, and just some sort of financial stuff that kind of worked really well. So let's have a look. Clickety